Hey guys, how's it going? This is Kevin here from Sensitive Acceptance, where we're all about changing the way society views emotions. And that, of course, applies to typology as well, like so personality psychology, as it relates to intuitives, especially feeling intuitives who are deep thinkers, deep feelers. And so we talk about those personality types on this channel. That includes INFPs, INFJs, ENFPs, ENFJs. Of course, we're just kind of getting started with talking about personality on this channel. I've only made one video prior to this. If you guys are interested in some of the topics we discuss here, like the highly sensitive person, especially as it applies to masculinity, personality psychology, and mental health, definitely hit the subscribe button. And click the bell to be notified when I release new videos. And let's get into the video. On to the point of this video. So the way that personality stuff ties into what I'm talking about is I actually saw a pretty interesting post online. So I've been looking into the C.S. Joseph's type grid, right? Whether you're affiliative versus pragmatic specifically. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you can go to, I'll link it down below, but you can go to C.S. Joseph's website and you can look at the type grid, which is a tool that you can use actually to identify your proper type as it relates to the 16 personality types, or MBTI as it's sometimes called, or union typology. But this type grid is used to identify your type, and one of the key differentiators as it relates to your temperament is being affiliative or being pragmatic. And so when I was learning more about this, I found an interesting article online by someone named Empath in the Office, and they have a YouTube channel as well. So I will link it down below because I'm going to be building off this video that they created and this idea of theirs. But what they were saying is that they tied in the example of being affiliative versus pragmatic to the current pandemic situation and people who decide to wear masks versus people who are vehemently opposed to wearing masks, or anti-maskers or maskers. Oh my gosh. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so true actually. And I actually really want to talk about this. So I kind of wanted to talk a bit about the way I perceived it and how it relates to myself and whether I'm affiliative or pragmatic. So essentially, let's give a quick definition of affiliative versus pragmatic. So people who are affiliative, these are of course the SJ types and the NF types on the type grid, or the 16 personality types. And these are people who want to do what is for the greater good, what benefits people the most, what adheres to the social norms, what adheres to like the rules that are out there. So the focus is always on like what's best for everyone, what's best for the community, you know, what's best for all the people in my life and just the greater good of society, right? And so beyond that, what is pragmatic? Well, someone who's pragmatic is someone who is thinking more so about what's most effective, you know, even if I have to be independent here, even if I have to think for myself, make my own decisions, you know, and my definitions are still a bit off as I'm still learning about these things, right? But that's the main differentiator. Someone who's pragmatic is not thinking first and foremost about what's best for the community. They're thinking about how can I do this most effectively, without necessarily having the rules in mind, just what is most effective given my personal goals, my individual goals, my independent goals. And so there's a bit of a difference there, right? And so this can really tie in neatly to people who are very in favor of people wearing masks and abiding by the quarantine rules and making sure that everyone is safe, which should be the affiliative types, versus the people who are more about their freedom, about what they feel is most effective, you know, how can they benefit themselves the most, and you know, just make independent decisions and think for themselves. And these people are the anti-maskers, or the pragmatic people. So as soon as I saw this example, I was like, you know what? I know now that I am affiliative. And of course, I don't want this to turn. I know that this is actually quite a heated debate now, whether you should wear a mask, not wear a mask. I don't want this video to be about that. I personally am not going to try and argue for one or the other. I just want to relate and explain what the side I tend to take, or based off my personality type, and kind of why that is. So as soon as I saw this, I knew that I was affiliative, because I am someone who has really been about, during this pandemic period, believing that people should wear masks. People should do it because I think you should be willing to sacrifice a bit of freedom temporarily in order to make sure that people, especially those who are very vulnerable, do not die, right? I get that it's a small segment of the population. I get that the statistics don't necessarily say that we're in imminent danger and that everyone's gonna, die and everyone's gonna get really, really sick. But there are a percentage of the population who will get severe symptoms and will die. And I prefer that those people are protected as well as possible. So I'd be curious to know, guys, let me know in the comments down below whether you are affiliative or whether you're pragmatic, based off the definitions I gave, and maybe you've been introduced to the whole temperament theory before. I believe it's David Keirsey who's kind of piloted some of this, along with Berens, and of course the type grid that C.S. Joseph has. So leave down below whether you're affiliative or pragmatic, and also how you have approached the mask situation during the pandemic, so that we can see whether this analogy actually holds true. And I'll engage with you guys down below. And so now let's just briefly look, just to divert away from that for a second, in terms of like figuring out who's like the percentage of the population that would be anti-masks or maskers versus the percentage that are not, and the percentage of that are for masks. Well, since SJs and NFs are affiliative, they would make up a higher percentage of the population than people who would be anti-maskers. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that. But because I believe around 40% of people are SJ types, and then 30% are SPs. So SPs and NTs are pragmatic, and SJs and NFs are affiliative. So that would be 40% SJs plus 15% NFs, roughly, versus 30% SPs and roughly 15% NTs. So there are less people who would be pragmatic. So that's something to keep in mind when you're kind of analyzing, I guess, comparing it to how many people you maybe see debating in comment sections about who should wear a mask, who shouldn't. And I have seen that the majority does believe that it is probably right to wear a mask and to do the right thing, or the right thing, however you perceive it in the situation. So yeah, I mean, this video, I just really wanted to just share this because I found it such an interesting analogy to think about, and kind of seeing the people that I found in the comment sections. Like me being affiliative, I might look at someone who's pragmatic and is an anti-masker and be like, wow, what are they doing? Why are they why do they feel they can just go out and just not wear a mask and not give a crap? Well, now I know that, okay, they're probably just pragmatic personality type. This is just the way they think. This is kind of their orientation in terms of their temperament. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just part of the personality and the way they think. So just taking the morality out of the equation, right? But, being affiliative in the way I perceive this, it's just also been interesting seeing the way I think as it relates to the pandemic as well. And, I have been, my family has a lot of SJs in it, and so we tend to think similarly. It's interesting, they're SJs whereas I'm an NF, and so I'm able to kind of see, even though we're kind of different in a lot of other ways, we are similar as it relates to being affiliative and having the view that, during this tough pandemic situation, people just gotta, I get that it's hard. I myself have found it very difficult, not having that ability to go out and explore and socialize and do all those healthy things. but I've found that, you know, that's kind of been overridden by the fact that this is a deadly disease. You know, we got to do what's right for the entire world, because it's basically affecting everyone in the world. Essentially, it's a global pandemic, and so we got to have people in mind who are more vulnerable, and do whatever we can, even if it means self-sacrificing, even if it means giving up our freedom, even if it means sacrificing a bit of our health for the people who may be in a worse situation than ours, right? People who need to feel safe and be safe as much as possible. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say, pretty much. I just found it interesting, just dissecting the way I think about the situation versus the way other people do. And, you know, I think we can get into that tendency where we kind of, you know, view the other side as like morally incorrect or like bad or something like that. But the truth is, when I learned about the affiliative versus pragmatic approach to this mask situation, I realized, you know, it's really just a case of two different types of people just thinking differently. So that's really all it's about. But yeah, that's all I wanted to really talk about, actually. So I really actually want to hear from you guys. If you can leave in the comments below, you know, let me know, are you affiliative or are you pragmatic? Based off the descriptions I shared, and maybe you've seen it, this kind of stuff on the using the type grid before, or maybe you know, the temperaments, but let me know. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. We'll wrap this video up right here. So if you guys really enjoyed this video, I will leave the link below, of course, to the article where I first learned about this concept of applying affiliative versus pragmatic to the mask situation. So I'll leave a link to their channel down below. And if you guys enjoy this video, please leave a like. And if you guys want to see more as it relates to talking about the highly sensitive person, as it relates to men, personality psychology, mental health, these are just some of the topics we talk about on this channel. And so if you're interested in that, definitely hit the subscribe button and click the bell to stay notified. But yeah, that's it. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.